What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. I wanted to do a quick video to address this because a few people have came out with this sentiment, which really does surprise me. And this video is probably going to take a different direction than one would anticipate it would, given the current situation. But I think it's important we understand holistically where we are as a community. Number one, let me just say that without John Madden, most of us may not be where we are in this community. It's an inconvenient truth to some of you that when you look at the history of the NFL, you can write that history without any YouTube channel, without any content creator, without the video game. You can do that. You can write the history of the NFL and exclude a video game. What you can't do, though, is write the history of the NFL and not include John Madden. And that is the true measure of what this man meant to the sport of football. It's so much bigger than where we are today, but understand that what he did is evolve something so large that it can encompass people like me today, just a regular person talking about video games on a screen. Can make the income to live off of because of the dedication and love the man had for a sport. That's why it matters to me. That's why it mattered to him. We'll get into it mattering to him in just a moment. And that's why I feel that EA should be doing things, should have been doing things to preserve the legacy of John Madden. Should have never removed his suggestions from coaching in the game where he gave you feedback on plays. Should still be Ask Madden, not Ask Coach. I want to talk about my buddy, Josh Harris. Says it better than I can because he's an NFL player. Legacy was set in stone, but to honor him, I hope EA Sports can restore the video game back to the great product it once was. He deserves that. Set aside what we want as gamers. Set aside our wish lists, what we feel we're entitled to in a product. If the game will continue to bear his name, Josh is entirely correct. He deserves the best. He goes on and talks about what many of us have. The earliest football memories being this game. The commentary with Pat Summerall, a guy that really, before social media was even thought of, created what would amount to a social media-esque personality, right? A guy that brought out a turducken, a guy that just by speaking during a game came up with traditions that we still follow to this day. Way beyond putting his name on a game, but let's not forget that you had video games that used to bear players' names, right? No one says that they play Petty 23 today when they talk about a racing game. That's how impactful he was. I want to go and talk about an image my friend Rex Dixon put up. Used to work on Madden. Talked about John Madden being involved in this game. Watching the games. Questioning them on football logic. But most importantly, calling them out when real football wasn't regularly in the game and that he was so much more than just a name on the box. And we know recently these things have kind of naturally stopped happening because Coach Madden deserved to live his life the way he wanted and not maybe be brought into a video game realm that is so disconnected right now from football. How does Coach Madden give suggestions on Madden Ultimate Team packs? He doesn't. It's very simple. Right? How does he approve of him being in the game as a Madden Ultimate Team coach? He doesn't. It's that simple. He had years and years to help them refine the core football product, and I hope that he never got to see the poor excuse for football Madden has become, or the fact that many fans dislike the game so much it's one of the worst products, because that is a true tarnish to this man's name, by no fault of his own. When you think about John Madden, when I think about John Madden, I think about this. This is a guy that behind his office had a rusted out sled from the Raiders. And there's no doubt that he spent countless hours reflecting on his life in football with this sled. Some of the great players that actually trained with this. It brings me to my final point. The core of football, as John talks about here, is the line. Right? And to many people, the core of football gaming is John Madden. And many of us, myself included, will forever be indebted to this man on the screen. It's not often that you can say someone completely changed your life and you've never met them. Never been in the same room with them. Right? Another human being made it possible for me to retire at this point almost whenever I would like. Because one day he sat down and he said, I'm going to put my name on a video game, but before I do, I want it to be 11-11 football, and you have to make the game right. And from that day forward, he did. And as media platforms became available to regular people, we've seen creators like myself come into the space that have had the ability to go directly, not just to EA, this is so much bigger than them, to other gaming developers, multiple gaming platforms, be able to work hand in hand with the NFL in some capacities, to have, like myself, former NFL players, general managers on their YouTube channel, to have the ability to reach out to NFL players any day that I want because of the platform this man provided us. So if you think there's anything any of us would ever do to disrespect this man's legacy, I don't know where you're coming from. It's an unfortunate fact that in order to talk about the current state of this game, we have to use this man's name. As I said, I never got to meet Coach Madden. I don't know Coach Madden, but I do know that he is a man that dedicated his life for the love of football, that knew that football was a huge part of who he was and who he always will be. And as I said in the beginning of this video, you will not write the history of the NFL and not include the name John Madden. It's not possible. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change where we are in our love of football, which may be different than how John loved football, because we don't have blocking sleds behind our office. For many of us, our only escape to football is to play a video game, and all we want is the video game to be the best possible example of football that it can be. And I would think that that's what Mr. Madden would want as well. In fact, you can go back and look, most of his dialogue establishes just that. From the first day he started working on a game to the last day he worked on a game. He strived to make it the most realistic it could be. Not sell the most mud packs. Not create the most out-of-position players. Not create the best zero-chill player. Not make sure this player has 99 speed. Not send another player to a stadium to do a ratings adjustment. To make sure the core football product played as best as it could. And if we have to continue to use this man's name to set a standard for what we expect the best football games to be, then understand we're doing that with nothing but the utmost in loyalty, respect, love, and passion, just like Mr. Madden had for football. Love to know your guys' thoughts on this. Appreciate you checking it out. And you know, hopefully in about a month and a half, I literally will be able to sit here and tell you that I will be back in the week with more commentary.